George Alexander is a prolific writer, authoring and co authoring 12 books and numerous articles. His writings explore various topics like human resources, social injustice, leadership, and personal development. His latest work is Twilight of Evil, a speculative historical fiction that follows Adolf Hitler, Eva Braun, and other top Nazis post the fall of Third Reich. Twilight of Evil is in three parts. The first part is when David gets a mysterious book from Dr. Peter. The second part is all about what is written in this mysterious book. The third part is after David finishes this mysterious book, reading it. The main part is, in fact, the second part. Although Hitler is universally loathed, in this book, Twilight of Evil, Martin Bowman actually takes the spotlight and comes across to be more menacing than Hitler. It is convincing too, because had there been nobody to support Hitler, Third Reich wouldn't have been possible. Hitler's supporters were, if not more, were equally evil. I was told that this is Eva Braun's story as much as it is of Hitler's. But as I finished reading this, I realized this is more of Martin Bauman's story than Eva's or Hitler's. There are so many thoughtful quotes that one can take from this book, which makes the readers reflect on their lives and this world in which they actually live. I wonder how the author George Alexander came up with such wonderful lines and dialogues. Although the chapters in the second part of this book are titled and dated to make it appear epistolary, they are not in this form. Chapters are short, similar to scenes and shots of a movie script. What happens to Hitler in the end is for you to read Twilight of Evil and find out. No, he doesn't die of old age. Just read the book. Twilight of Evil by George Alexander instead of asking for spoilers. Twilight of Evil ends with the notes of formation of Israel and Mossad, Stalin and USSR, and so on. Apart from a great storyline, Twilight of Evil came with poorly edited manuscript. But the author wrote back saying that these issues have been taken care of in the second edition. Feels like a great story lost to the rush of publishing. And yes, I love the cover of this book's edition available in Western countries than what is available in India. As per the story of Twilight of Evil, Hitler forms German Reich Association of National Activists, that is GRANA, after being in exile for a few years in Argentina. There is a saying in Kannada, Nai Bala Donku. It means a dog's tail never straightens. It can be interpreted as people never let go of their innate traits. In this story, Hitler is that dog's tail that never learned a lesson after all the war waged on Third Reich. When, in one of the meetings of Grana, Hitler calls themselves survivors, I lost my mind. The man who mercilessly killed countless people just based on religion with the help of his supporters called himself and his supporters survivors. Is that how whites see themselves among red Indians and blacks in USA? Is that how Muslims and Christians see themselves among Hindus in India? Is that how upper castes see themselves among Dalits? There are many quotes and proverbs about how history is written by survivors. Imagine if this speculative historical fiction was true, then the history written by Hitler as a survivor would have been unimaginable. My blood boils just by the thoughts of it. The author describes how the elite Nazis escaped Berlin with the help of influential people in the Vatican City. Now, this book is a speculative fiction, and I did not find anything, not even the tiniest piece of info on the internet about the truth in this. Not even a clickbait. So I checked the Google Maps. From Berlin to the Vatican City, it is a 1500 plus kilometer journey. One needs to cross Austria to enter Italy and then reach the Vatican City. Austria was occupied by the Nazis and Italy was their friend. The Soviets, the Americans, and the Allies were converging on the Nazis from every direction. That's the beauty of the speculative historical fiction. Anything could have happened. Everything falls into place and negates itself at the same time. With so many people described to be inside the bunker at a time, it is hard to imagine all of them together in a 3000 square feet hideout. Amidst this, some scenes feel like there is a disconnect. For example, when Hans Fritzsche is writing a surrender letter to the Soviet and General Wilhelm Burgdorf enters, it is not clear how the latter gets to know what the former was writing. Also, there is no sign of Hans Fritzsche post the narration of him approaching the Soviet lines to surrender in chapter 17. It is not clear at the end of chapter 17 whether the surrender of Hans Fritzsche was a personal surrender or was a representation of the whole of Third Reich and the National Socialists. Because in chapter 20, dated 2nd May 1945, General Helmut Wilding surrenders to the Soviets general, and this is shown to be the official surrender of the Nazis sans Hitler and his close friends. On page 145, I found a sentence. The phone on the table buzzed. Back then, the phones didn't buzz. They rang. Germans have always called Germany a fatherland, not motherland. But in Hitler's speech at Grana, he refers to Germany as she. It is shown in the story of this book, that is Twilight of Evil. Present within the story is written by Dr. Peter Alex, a character in the story. But it is not clear how exactly he got to know about what happened in exile with the top Nazis. I could have accepted the logic if it was indicated that Dr. Peter Alex was part of Mossad, but no, there is no explanation about it. Although Twilight of Evil is a speculative historical fiction, with a chapter in which Hitler loses Blondie, his German shepherd, the author has tried to show the human side of this monster. A powerless Hitler, how he might have been, is described very well. If I were to recommend this book to anyone, it would be for its story. Ladies and gentlemen, Twilight of Evil.